next day of our trip, we started with the exploration of the vast and relatively flat valley of the Guten mountain range. In the middle of this green plateau covered with an inexhaustible sea of grass growing on the clay soil, we came across a rock formation rising proudly above the surrounding meadows. Having looked at it, we could not resist the temptation to climb to the top and peek at the area from above. From the south side, the driveway was relatively flat. We passed a lonely tree which proudly resisted the furious gusts of whipping wind, and paying attention to the carelessly scattered stones showing the bare, hard, irregular fragments from under the ground, after a few minutes we reached the top. From here there was an uninterrupted view of the immediate surroundings. Behind the clearly cut-off border of the forest, the Carpathian Ranges, already on the Ukrainian side, loomed in the distance, and our Sandy was located at the very top of this vantage point. This picturesque place seemed to have been created to fit our defender into the landscape. The protruding rock tooth, topped with a flat stone slab, was a perfect parking place, which, however, we approached with a clearly perceptible release of adrenaline into the bloodstream. You are aware that we weighed as much as nothing compared to this massive block of rock, but your imagination has offered up countless images of a potential catastrophe that would undoubtedly occur if this ledge was to break away for some reason. Fortunately, nothing like that happened, and after a dozen or so minutes of savoring the views, we continued our journey, having previously sent our drone to find us a trail, which turned out to be a European long-distance path, E8. The European long-distance paths are a network of long-distance footpaths aimed at walkers, cyclists and horse riders that traverse Europe. To be very honest, we had no idea they existed until I spotted it on the map. While most of them are located in just one country or region, each of these numbered passes through many different countries. The entire E8 European long distance is 4,700 kilometers across Europe, from Ireland to Istanbul in Turkey. After crossing the North Sea, it passes through the Netherlands, Germany, Austria, Slovakia, Poland, Ukraine, Romania and Bulgaria. Some eastern sections of the route are yet to be finalized. If you know anyone who had actually walked the entire path once, let me know in the comments, as I didn't find any information about that. Of course, during these types of escapades, there are times when you take the wrong turn or find that it is not worth going further when driving conditions deteriorate. So it was this time. When we realized that we had strayed from the trail, and the trail on which we found ourselves was becoming more and more demanding, we decided to turn back. It is often not easy. Finding a place when forest is not dense enough to make a U-turn with the defender can be challenging. Surrounding trees didn't allow to go over more aggressively, soft clay clogged our tires, and we were forced to recover ourselves using a winch. There is a recovery and service storage on the right side of our car, easily accessible when needed by opening gullwing windows. So I took the winch remote from there, plugged it into the socket located in the storage on the left defender's wing, turned the winch circuit on, grabbed the trunk tree protector and headed towards the suitable tree. I knew the defender needed just a little pull, so didn't bother with a snatch, although I knew the distance was short.
Moje drzwi są otwarte.
A few minutes job was done and we could free ourselves using defender power only. Well, it definitely wasn't the end of our adventure. After several dozen minutes, we found ourselves in an open clearing where we could barely see any traces. Certainly, someone used to go this way, but it was not a frequently traveled trail, and unfortunately, which is not visible on this footage, it was getting steeper with each meter. And having learned from previous expeditions, we knew that there's nothing worse than driving on a mud terrain tires on a wet grass. As it was quite wide around and we were still driving quite perpendicular to the slope, so we did not risk an uncontrolled sliding sideways, I decided to continue this journey into the unknown. Of course, it cannot be said that it was 100% safe, but such expeditions never guarantee safety if we are planning the route not knowing what to expect. If you watch closely, you can see a piece of a branch on our route sliding over it at one point, illustrating how steep it got here. In this section, our Sandy was already quite tilted to the left, and the high center of gravity did not make us feel much more comfortable. And in front of us, a muddy ditch appeared, which does not look threatening here, but in fact, it almost caused us to roll over to the left, from which we were saved only by keeping cold blood and turning the car down the slope. After such attractions and few days without proper shower, the only thing we dreamt of before finding a new camping spot was hot shower. As it was not high season and due to COVID times, finding a place just to have a shower wasn't easy. Fortunately, Google Translator exists and we could even negotiate the price using it. Well, the host told us to pay as we wish and seemed like she wasn't 100% happy of the amount, but after a few minutes we were allowed to enter proper bathroom and enjoy the luxury of the normal bath and other beauty treatments. "30 minutes later, we were ready to dive into the mountains again. This is our second day of exploring Maramuresh Mountains. Today we had some serious off-road in some parts, had to use winch ones. As you can see, we've started here. It took us one day to get from here somewhere there. That was the first night that we spent, and then we moved like this blue line, and we are actually now right here. So tomorrow we will go through a few villages and then we are starting again exploring mountains right here and then following the routes down there and here, there and there. So I think it will be another 3 or even 4 days of driving through mountains. Keep your fingers crossed. Ciao. And this was what the sunrise looked like the next morning. Personally, I do not like getting up early, but for such views, it is worth making an exception. Waking up amid the merry bird sounds, the beautiful landscape, still covered with a blanket of fog, poured into the heart an incredible peace and joy of being in such a place. Anyway, just have a look at it.